You ever notice how two people can describe the exact same event but make you feel completely different things about it? Well, today, we're pulling back the curtain on that hidden layer of language, the part that doesn't just inform us, but actively goes to work on how we think and feel.
I mean, really think about it. Language isn't just for sharing facts, right? It's our #1 tool for persuading people, for making judgments, for building friendships, and, yeah, for drawing battle lines. But how does it actually do all that? How can simple words carry so much weight, so much attitude?
Okay, this slide just nails the core concept. On one side, you have a simple fact, a bill passed with 51 votes. Totally neutral information. But look at the other side, describing the same event. Calling it a landmark victory isn't a fact. It's an opinion, a judgment. This right here is what linguists call evaluative language. One is data, the other is a whole worldview.
Now, this all seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? We all think we know an opinion when we see one. But for researchers trying to systematically track and analyze this subjective layer of language, well, that's a huge challenge. It turns out that pinning down opinion is way, way harder than it looks.
You see, the difficulty is that evaluative language is kind of a moving target. It's multifunctional. It does way more than just stating an opinion. Its meaning can completely flip depending on the context, and it's often tied to a shared ideology between the speaker and the listener. But maybe the biggest challenge is how the opinion gets expressed. Sometimes it's right in your face, and other times it's incredibly subtle.
Let's start with the easy one. This is what we call inscribed evaluation. The opinion here is totally explicit. It's right there on the surface, practically in neon lights, thanks to that one word, disaster. You don't need any special context to know exactly how the speaker feels.
But now, look at this. This is evoked evaluation, and it is so much more sneaky. The sentence itself sounds perfectly factual, doesn't it? But by choosing to present this specific fact, it implies or evokes a really powerful negative judgment about that policy. It basically forces you, the listener, to connect the dots and form that negative opinion all on your own. This is where language gets really persuasive and really tricky to analyze.
So, how do you tackle this subjectivity problem? Well, linguists have developed different theoretical frameworks. You can think of them as specialized tools, or different lenses, each one designed to bring a different part of evaluative language into sharp focus.
First up, we've got stance. Think of this as language in action. When you take a stance, you're not just passively expressing an opinion. You are actively positioning yourself. You're using your words to say, I'm with this person, or I'm against that idea. It's all about where you stand in the conversation.
Next, there's sentiment analysis. This is the big data approach to the problem. It's a computational method that can scan massive amounts of text. We're talking millions of product reviews or tweets, and then calculates the overall positive or negative vibe towards something. You can basically think of it as a digital thumbs up or thumbs down on a gigantic scale.
And finally, there's appraisal theory. Now this is the really detailed, high-resolution lens. It goes way beyond a simple good versus bad scale. It gives us this incredible framework to classify the type of opinion being expressed. Are you talking about a personal feeling, like being happy or sad? That's affect. Making a moral call on someone's behavior? That's judgment. Or are you assessing the value of something, like a beautiful painting? That's appreciation. It gets super specific.
Okay, so we have these really powerful theories, but how do researchers actually use them in the real world? Well, they combine these frameworks with a tool that has been an absolute game changer for linguistics.
And that tool is the language corpus. Just imagine a massive, searchable digital library of real-world language, news articles, casual conversations, legal documents, you name it, all in one place. It's like a time machine for words, letting linguists spot patterns across millions of examples that were totally invisible just a few decades ago.
Here's a perfect example of how this works. A researcher named Monica Bednarek put together a corpus of news stories that were shared like crazy online. By analyzing all the evaluative language inside them, she could pinpoint which news values, things like emotion, conflict, or surprise, were being triggered. And the conclusion? Turns out, a key ingredient for making a story go viral is packing it full of strong, emotional, and evaluative language.
And check out this other fascinating study, this time looking at courtroom talk. By digging into a corpus of legal proceedings, researcher Magdalena Scherbach found that even a simple little verb like say wears a ton of different hats. As you can see, depending on what's around it, it can be used to challenge a witness, slip in a personal opinion, or attribute a claim to someone else. It's a perfect example of how this kind of analysis uncovers the hidden, high-stakes jobs our everyday words are doing.
So, what's the big deal? Why does digging into the nitty-gritty of opinionated language actually matter in our everyday lives? Well, it's about seeing the whole picture of how we communicate with each other.
And here's the crucial takeaway. There's no single magic lens for understanding language. Stance, sentiment analysis, appraisal theory, they aren't competing against each other. They're all complementary tools in a much larger toolkit. The real power comes from using them all together to see just how profoundly language constructs our social reality, one conversation at a time.
So, the next time you read a news headline or see a political ad or even just have a casual conversation, remember this hidden layer. Pay attention to the words that aren't just informing you, but are actively trying to make you feel a certain way. Now that you know what to look for, what are you going to start to notice?